I've talked a lot now about these ideas of conversational connectors, which is where you elaborate on things and keep a conversation going by using conversational clusters of words that aren't specific to an individual topic, rather than just giving a blunt answer. And on my website, antonylauder.com, I categorize about 100 of these conversational connectors into 7 categories. And I'm going to introduce these 7 categories and play with them a little bit and show you how to use just a few of the 100. Just a few. Look on my website for more of them. Rather than just giving direct responses. So let's imagine you've been asked, why do you live in Prague? Somebody just meets you for the first time and they say, well, why do you live in Prague? So that would be asked with proč, why, proč bydlíte, you live v Praze. Why do you live in Prague? So, a blunt answer would be something like protože tady pracuju, because, protože means because, tady, here, I work. So, proč bydlíte v Praze? Protože tady pracuju. Now, it sounds a bit aggressive and blunt, and it ends the conversation, and how can the person continue on from that? They think you want to rush the thing over, and you've perhaps panicked and got it out and hope they don't ask you another question. Well, using conversational connectors, as I've frequently said, you can elaborate on the answer a bit and give yourself some breathing space, and also give the other person the feeling that you actually want to have a conversation with them. So, if somebody has asked you a question, you can begin by just saying, oh, that's a good question, or something like that, or, oh, that's a difficult question, or, oh, thanks for asking. So these would be what I call opening connectors. That's where you're taking the baton, taking ownership, or agreeing that you're going to speak next. And then you can give your answer. So, that's a good question. I live in Prague because I work here. So, opening connectors are where you where you're accepting that it's your turn to speak, and before giving your answer, you're referring back to the fact that something's been handed over to you. So you could say, to je dobrá otázka. That is a good question. To je dobrá otázka. And you can throw in taková, which means such a. To je taková dobrá otázka. Bydlím v Praze, I live in Prague, protože tady pracuju. So you can see you've elaborated rather than just blurting out the answer. If you think it's a hard question, you can say to je těžká otázka. Oh, to je těžká otázka. That's a difficult question. Těžká means difficult. That's such a difficult question. To je taková těžká otázka. Ale já bydlím v Praze, protože tady pracuju. You see? But, so that's such a difficult question, but I live in Prague because I work here. Or if they didn't ask you a question, you can use exactly the same principles now to talk about a statement they've said. So if they've had an idea, I think the Czech would be easier if we took lessons or something like this. You could say, to je dobrý. It's unfortunately, Czech has genders. So nápad, which means idea, is masculine, whereas otázka was feminine. So we would say dobrá otázka, good question, but dobrý nápad, good idea. So somebody says, let's start lessons, and you say, to je dobrý nápad. and then you'd say, Sem pro, I'm for it, something like that, or whatever you wanted to say. Or if somebody makes a proposal or suggestion to you, you could say, to je takový dobrý návrh. That is such a good proposal, such a good suggestion. And then you could give more details about it. So these openings are really commenting on what the person has just said to you, and accepting ownership of the question. So, proč bydlíte v Praze? To je taková dobrá otázka. Já bydlím v Praze, I live in Prague, protože tady pracuju. You see? And so this opening is the first of the 7 types of connectors, conversational connectors, and you can just talk about all sorts of topics then. If they were asking about anything, you can use these before giving your answer. And then you want to hand the baton back. And this is where you'll, rather than just stopping, instead of just saying, because I work here, you'd say things like, and what about you? What do you think about it? So these are called passing connectors. A co vy? And what you? And what you is an idiom to say, and what about you? Or you could say the same question. A co vy? Proč bydlíte vy v Praze? Proč bydlíte v Praze vy? Why do you live in Prague? And then they will give you their answer. Or if they were asking your opinion about something, a co myslíte vy? So you were asked a question, you gave your opinion, and then you say, that's my opinion, a co myslíte vy? And you're handing the baton back. The whole idea then is this passing and forward. The conversation is an ongoing dialogue, rather than having ends all the time, where the next person thinks, oh, have they finished now? Is that the end of the conversation to start another question, or what? This opening and then passing keeps the ball moving between the people, and wrapping up factual information in these wrappers gives it a more conversational style. So those are the first 2 types. If you go to my website, you'll see many more examples of connectors in these 2 types. And in the next video, I'm going to discuss a couple more of the 7 types of connectors.